sitting comfortably, well, maybe not so comfortable, depends. But we're going to start tonight with our feet together. And tonight's Yin class is a full body stretch. So we're going to start with the hips. If your knees aren't comfortable like this, or it's not good for your hips, you can take your pillows and place them underneath your knees just for some added support. So just sitting up as tall as you can, maybe stacking your shoulders above your hips and lining up your ears above your shoulders. And close your eyes. I'm going to take this nice and slow tonight. So we'll be holding our poses for 2 or 3 minutes. So just settling in, allowing anything that doesn't need to be working to relax. You can have your hands resting on your knees, or if it feels more comfortable to have your hands resting on the ground, that's fine too. So wherever your arms and hands want to be. And as you close your eyes, checking in with yourself, checking in where you might be feeling some tightness or tension. And at any point, if I'm asking you to go into a shape and it's not feeling right, if there's sharp pain, then definitely come out of it and find a more comfortable shape for you to be in. With your eyes closed, it's always nice to connect with your breath, noticing the cool air flowing in and the warmer air flowing back out. And as you breathe in, just noticing where your breath is going. Is it going to your chest, or all the way down into your belly? And if it isn't getting all the way down into your belly, gradually direct your inhale down to your belly, allowing your belly to expand as you breathe in and contract as you breathe out. Feeling your shoulders maybe sinking a little bit deeper into your frame. And while we're here, let's just get our neck a little bit of stretching. So we're going to drop our chin to our chest, and allowing the back of your neck to stretch out. While you're here, checking in with the muscles in your face. See if you can get them to soften and relax. Noticing maybe your knees getting a little bit closer towards the mat. And then slowly just taking your nose into a nice big circle. Taking it nice and slow, mindful circles. And then slowly taking it in the other direction. Noticing any tightness, any tension. Being gentle with yourself. Bringing your head back to center. And flutter your eyes open. Maybe taking your shoulders to your ears and rolling them back down your back. making sure that your shoulders are above your hips and your ears are above your shoulders. And those hips should feel a nice stretch and opening happening here. We're going to slowly just bring the knees up. And then sending your feet out in front of you. Maybe give the legs a little bit of a shake. Maybe point your toes and then flex your feet. And while you're sitting here, seeing how your back feels, if you feel like your back is a little tender tonight, you could always take your blanket or your bolster or your blanket or your pillow, placing it underneath your knees, if that feels better. And we're going to come into a caterpillar pose. And so we're just going to slowly fold forward. And when you get to some resistance, just let your head relax down, letting your arms just rest on the floor or on your pillow or bolster. Coming back to your breath. As you breathe in, just noticing how the subtle movements happen in your body. And as you exhale, notice maybe getting a little bit closer towards your knees. Following the gentle flow of your breath. Imagine that breath like a wave flowing into the shore and flowing back out again. Allowing your shoulders to relax away from your ears. Allowing your face to be soft. Making sure your neck feels okay. It's intense for your neck to be hanging like this. You can always stack your fists and allow your forehead to rest on your fists. And we'll just take 10 more breaths here, slowing it right down. Forward folds are really lovely to do at the end of the day. Helps to tap into that parasympathetic nervous system, that area of rest and digest. And then very slowly easing your way back up to sitting. If you have a pillow or a bolster under your knees, just moving it out of the way. Give those legs a little shake again, maybe pointing and flexing your feet. The next shape we're going to come into tonight is for our toes. So our toes don't really get a big stretch. They're always in shoes and socks. So we're going to come onto our hands and knees to start. And we're going to curl our toes under. And if your baby toe is like mine, it tends to get tucked in there. So just open it up And then we're going to sit back onto our heels. So if you have any toe injuries, if you are feeling intense pain in your toes, then definitely come off of this shape. So taking a moment or two, close your eyes. We're not going to stay here for a full 2 minutes. But to distract you, let's just take our hands out and maybe make some figure eights with our wrists. So when we can take the focus off of the area that's being stretched out, you can stay here a little bit longer. And then bringing your palms together, bringing your elbows out so your forearms are parallel to the floor. It looks like this. We're going to just open up the fingertips, so opening them and closing them, keeping your elbows up. So opening and closing. This is good for strengthening your wrists. And then shaking those hands out. Your toes should be almost ready. So we're going to come onto our hands and knees and then just give those feet a little tap on the floor, just to relieve any tension from your toes. They don't usually go in that position, but it's really good to stretch them out. So from here, we're going to come into a beautiful swan pose. So if your hips are a little bit tender, you might want to go on your back for this one. So for those of you that your hips are fine, we're going to take the right knee and bring it up towards the right wrist. And then stretch the left leg back. Maybe wiggling your hips back and forth until you find a position that feels good for you. And once you have that position, we're going to lay this beautiful swan down to rest. So coming all the way down to the mat, you can stack your fists, or you can lay your head all the way to the floor. If you feel that your hip is needing a little more support, you can take your pillow and just rest it there, just to give it a little added support. And if this isn't working for you at all, then come all the way down onto your back, taking your right ankle onto your left knee and just allowing that knee to move away from your body. So if the first option isn't working, you can come into the second option. And we're going to hang out here in this beautiful swan pose. And this is a great pose to see how your breath can reduce the tension. So while you're here, imagine breathing down into that right hip. Imagine flooding that area with relaxing energy. And as you exhale, just noticing how the tension that might have been in your hip gradually shifts and moves. And then eventually you'll find that the tension dissolves and melts away. So just staying with it, allowing those hips to relax, allowing your face to soften, shoulders to relax. We'll take 10 more breaths here. Just observing what's happening for you, observing those sensations. So Yin Yoga is a great way to slow right down, to observe what happens in your body, how it feels, and allowing you to get into the ligaments and the tendons. And then very slowly bringing yourself back up, bringing your hands back underneath you. We're going to stretch that right leg out and just stretch it up, move it in any way that feels good for you. It's kind of like we've just unkinked a hose and there's a fresh flood of good energy shooting all the way down to your feet. And then coming back down onto your knees. Before we do the other side, we're going to come onto our bellies. So if you were on your back, flip yourself over. And we're going to just start with our forehead resting on the mat, having your feet nice and wide to the edges of the mat. Maybe rocking from side to side, just to remind yourself to relax your lower half, relax your hips, your bum, your legs. And then we'll just bring the elbows underneath the shoulders, keeping that lower half nice and relaxed. Coming into a Sphinx pose here. Allowing the shoulders to move away from your ears. Checking in to make sure there's no sharp pains in your lower back. Reminding yourself to relax the lower half. Breathing all the way down into your belly. Maybe with each exhale, just noticing your rib cage getting a little bit closer to the mat, sinking a little bit deeper. A little bit more of a curve in your back. And taking 10 more breaths here. At any point, if it feels too intense, bring yourself back down. And then slowly just bending your elbows, bringing your hands underneath your shoulders and gently pushing yourself back into a nice wide-legged child's pose. So knees are wide, toes touching, and wiggling back down towards the floor. If your head's not touching, you can always stack your fists. And just taking a few moments to breathe all the way down into your lower back. Imagine blowing up a nice big balloon. And then we'll come back into a table position. We're going to do the other side to do our swan pose. So you can take your left knee to your left wrist and slide that right leg back. And if this side is not feeling good, go onto your back. You want to make sure there's no sharp pains in your knee. So make any adjustments. If you need to pull your foot back down closer, you can do that. It'll take some of the tension away. And once you get yourself set up, feeling like you're balanced, you can lay all the way down into a beautiful sleeping swan. Resting your head on the mat or on your stacked fists or maybe on a pillow or a bolster. And just noticing how this side feels compared to the other side. You may find that one side is a little tighter than the other. And just be patient with yourself. Be patient with your breath, sending it down into those tight spots. Allowing the breath to send some relaxing energy. And just allowing that tension to eventually dissolve away. Checking in to make sure your shoulders are relaxed. All the muscles in your face soft and relaxed. Maybe observing any thoughts that arise as you stay in this shape. Allowing those thoughts to float on by as they pop up. Not holding on to anything, but softening, releasing and letting go. And we'll stay here for 5 more breaths. And then slowly making your way back up. And just like the other side, we're going to stretch that left leg back, maybe bending it and pointing it, getting some fresh energy flowing from your hip to your toes. moving it any way that feels good for you. And then we're going to flip over onto our backs. Getting yourself nice and comfortable here. We're going to come into a banana shape, and this will stretch out our side body. So we're going to start by taking our feet to the left of our mat. And then taking your head and your arms over to the left top corner. So you're making this little banana shape. And if you want to intense it, you can always take your right ankle across your left foot. Making sure you can relax here. So allowing anything that doesn't need to be working to soften. So softening your shoulders, your arms. You can close your eyes if you'd like, allowing your face to soften. Breathing all the way down to the base of your belly. Enjoying this beautiful side stretch. If you wanted to imagine breathing into any areas that feel a little tight, you can do like we did with the swan pose and just imagine breathing, relaxing energy into those areas. And taking a few more breaths here. And then if your right leg is crossed, uncrossing it, bringing your feet and your head and arms back to center. Maybe bring your arms back down by your side. You can flex and point your feet and hands. And then reaching your arms back overhead. Take our arms and our head to the right corner of our mat. And the feet can go to the bottom right corner. Finding this banana shape on this side. If you want to take your left ankle and cross it over your right, go right ahead. And again, just softening into this shape. Allowing anything that doesn't need to be working to relax. Close your eyes and just follow the flow of your breath. And taking a few more moments here. And slowly bringing your head and your arms and your feet back to center. We'll just bring our hands down by our sides, bend your knees, maybe lift your hips up a little bit and set them back down. We're going to take our right ankle and cross it over the left knee. And taking your arms into a T or a cactus shape, we're going to come into a spinal twist by letting our knees float down towards the right. You're going to feel this across that left hip. If it's intense for your right ankle to be onto that left knee, you can remove it and bring it to the floor. But if you can, just have it there just to allow that left knee to come a little closer towards the mat. And then you can take your gaze and your head over to the left, so the opposite direction of where your knees are. And just sending your breath all the way down the length of your spine. With each exhale, allowing your back to unlock a little bit more. Allowing everything to soften. And to settle. And then slowly take your right foot off your knee, bringing your head back to center and just letting your knees gently go from side to side. And then bringing them back to center, let's cross the left ankle over the right knee, and then letting those knees come down towards the left. And taking your head towards the right, making sure it feels right for you on this side. Allowing your breath to flow freely and easily. And we'll release the left foot, bringing the head and the knees back to center. Let's bring the knees in for a hug, maybe rocking from side to side. And we'll come into our final pose, taking your legs and stretching them out nice and wide on your mat. Arms resting down by your side, coming into our corpse pose. You can close your eyes. If your back is tender, definitely use a pillow or bolster under your knees. Just allowing yourself to rest here. Feeling your heels on the floor, your calves, your hips, your shoulder blades, elbows, backs of your hands, all resting gently on the floor. The back of your head. Close your eyes and just follow the flow of your breath. And while you're here, I'd just like to share a poem from Dana Folds called Still Point. There is a quality of stillness so rare that the air shimmers in its presence. It's there between our eyes. We hear it when we dare to speak the truth. It vibrates with the music of life, dances in the wind, breaks forth from the trees into a clearing just as the sun rises and settles into silence once again. There is a quality of stillness so rare that I am bared to the very marrow of my bones before it. May I choose never to be clothed again. And slowly beginning to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Making your way back up to a comfortable seated position. And let's just bring our hands to our heart center and take a collective breath in and a collective sigh out. Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice. Have a lovely evening.